another thing that we can look at in coordinate geometry is the angle between two lines. So if you have two straight lines and they meet, I mean, they could meet at 90 degrees, they'd be perpendicular to each other, and you might know it by looking at their slopes or the equation of their lines. You might notice it from the equation of their lines as well. But if you look at it, no matter what angle they meet at, it's usually acute, maybe here, and obtuse over here. Acute here, obtuse over here. So no wonder when you look at your log tables and are looking for the rule that talks about the angle between two lines, then you kind of have this plus and minus option. It's because one of them will give you an obtuse answer and one of them will give you an acute answer. Now you only need to find one. So if this is 45, well then this is 135. You don't need to usually work out everything in order to use this rule. And so if I got a question that said, here's a line 2x plus y minus 5 equals 0, and here's another line x plus 5y minus 2 equals 0. Find the angle between them. Now, as I said, probably unless it's a 90, unless they're perpendicular to each other, I'm probably going to get an acute angle and an obtuse angle. So I write down my formula. The tan of the angle is equal to m1 minus m2 all over 1 plus m1 times m2. And that means that I need the slope of both lines. Like I need to be able to fill in the slope of both lines in order to work out the angle between them. And if I don't have the slope of both lines, I either can't find this, or perhaps I've been given this and I'll be able to figure out the slope of one of the other lines. So in this question, they're asking for the angle between two lines. I can easily see there, if you move this around, you'll see the slope there is minus 2. And the slope of this one is minus a fifth. And you should be able to work that out from, that's junior cert stuff. That means that the tan of the angle is equal to plus or minus, so let's call this one M1 and this one M2, minus 2 minus a fifth, and 1 plus minus 2 times minus a fifth. So that's minus 2 minus by minus a plus, so that gives me minus 1 and 4/5. And on the bottom here, that's minus 2 times that, which gives me a plus 2 over 5. So that's 1 plus 2 over 5, which is 1 and 2/5. And I should be able to work that out to give you a plus 9 over 7 or a minus 9 over 7. So I'm looking to go right. The tan of the angle is equal to this, so I can use inverse tan on my calculator of plus 9 over 7, and I would get 52.13 degrees. Now if they asked me for the acute one, I'd have this one. If they asked me for the larger angle, I'd just go 180 minus this one, so that would be 127.87 degrees. So pretty straightforward. Just fill in your formula and then you can use inverse tan, because the tan of the angle is equal to this, so inverse tan of it. And then the last formula that we'll look at is dividing a line segment into the ratio A is to B. Again, you need to be careful with your log tables and notice that it's in the ratio of A is first and then B. Now that makes sense that you have to be careful, because if this is my line segment and I want to divide it into the ratio of 2 is to 1, and I don't write down that this is A and this is B, like what I'm looking for is the point here where it's in the ratio of 2 is to 1. If I mix this up, I'll get this point here, which would be in the ratio of 1 is to 2. So be careful that you actually label this correctly. That's A and that's B, and you fill it in carefully. And then once you do that, it should be pretty straightforward in order to find the point dividing the line segment into a given ratio. So let's have a look at an example. Maybe where I have a point A, let's say it's 3 minus 1, and I have a point B, it's minus 9, 1, and I want to divide it into the ratio of 3:1. So that's A, that's B. I'm going to call that x1, y1, x2, y2. Get my formula from the log tables and open my bracket, so it's B times x1 plus A times x2 all over B plus A. B plus A is 4, comma, B times y1 plus A times y2 all over B plus A. And then I should be able to clean that up. Pretty straightforward. That's 3 minus 27 is minus 24 over 4. And then this one is minus 1 plus 3 is 2 over 4. Which gives me minus 6, comma, a half. So that's the point that divides this line segment in the ratio of 3:1.